Hi, my name's Henry, and I own Henry's Mobile Sharpening, and we're going to show you how I sharpen shears. These scissors are so dull that they will not even cut the tissue. They won't even cut through it at all. And you can see they're not doing nothing. This is what I use to sharpen them with. This is a twice as sharp scissor machine. I use a 600 diamond grit wheel, and then we'll go from there to a leather polishing wheel. I will check the angle on the shears first. Most convex shears, and that's what these are, is convex shears, are sharpened on a 45-degree angle. We'll check it and make sure nobody that sharpened them before me has changed the angle. These shears have nicks all down the blades, so we're going to make sure we get all that out. I'm not sure if the camera will show you everything, but they've been dropped a few times and they're nicked all the way down. So we're going to make sure we get all that out. And they probably need a washer because they're flopping like a fish. So if they need a washer, we'll put a washer in them. Anything that needs to be done when I sharpen them, I do. If they need bumpers, if they need washers, I take care of all that. That's all included in the price. I charge $20 a pair for any type of convex shears, any type of beauty salon shears. That's thinners, blenders, chunkers, semi-convex, convex shears, doesn't matter. So we will get started, and we'll start with this pair of the rainbows here. We'll go ahead and take them apart. You can see all the hair in them, so they have been used a lot, and these are really nicked bad down the blades. So take them apart and clean them real good. Make sure there's no hair or anything on them. You get the washer out of them. They all have a washer in them right here. If this little washer gets gone, they will not stay tight. So if they're flopping around like a fish, that's what's causing it. Alright, clean this one off. Alright, let me set this out of the way. We'll cut our machine on. You clamp your shears about halfway across the pivot. The pivot is this little hole right here. You want to clamp them about halfway across, like that. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but about halfway across. Alright, make sure they're level with the machine. Alright, now we just want to basically lightly touch them to see where our angle is. Alright, I don't know if you can see the shine spot right there in the blade. It'll be different colored than the other part of the blade. So it is set on a 45 degrees, so that's good. That's where we want it. The shears all cut better if they're set on a 45-degree angle. So we'll take it back to the wheel and lightly go across the wheel. Real light. And then we're checking to see if there's a burr. It should build a burr up on the back of the blade. It didn't, so we'll have to take it across real light. Alright. Okay, we got a pretty good burr here, but we got to go all the way down to the end down here and make sure we get the end good. see we got a perfect line all the way down the shears. Now they are hot, so. Alright. And it just barely put a burr on the back side. And you can see there's no metal been taken off these shears. We're not going to grind any of the metal off of them. There's no sense in it. If it's done right, there shouldn't be no metal taken off of them. You shouldn't even notice it. I mean, you can't sharpen anything without taking some metal off, but we're not going to take enough off to even notice it at all. Right. We'll set this one halfway across the pivot. We'll do the same thing with it. A little bit more. Make sure I get all the nicks out of this blade, because this blade here had a lot of nicks. That's what you want to see right there. Like I said, as you can see, there's no metal taken off that blade. It has not been ground down. And that's the way it should look when they're done. Alright, we'll take it from, lay these here. We'll start with this stone. Now, this is a water stone, so we're going to wet it real good. And work these at about a 45 degree angle. Bring it backward. That back skew, the burr I created off of it, and then I just lightly work it across. You can see the stone turning black. That's actually some of the metal, the burr that's coming off of the blade. Doesn't take much on these type shears. Now, some of them you have to work it a little bit more, but on these type you don't. We got a new ride line down the blade. You can see it's got a perfect ride line pretty much all the way down. It's right back here. I'm going to work it just a little bit more right there. Alright, that's good. And you can see a perfect ride line all the way down that blade. Now we'll move it over to the finer stone. This is the 8,000 grit stone. I'm going to move it to it, and we're going to just lightly work this blade on this one too. Same thing, you want to back it down first, and then just real light. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, because if you do, you'll take too much of it. That shines that up. Right, that one's pretty much done. Now we'll do the other one the same way. Alright, we got a bead on these, so we're gonna back the bead off real light. I'm gonna lightly work it on the stone. The little insert don't pop out. We're going to check it a little bit more. And I don't put a whole lot of pressure on certain scissors. I'd work them a lot more. On the rainbow scissors, and these are not real expensive scissors, so I don't want to work it too much on here. And I don't want to put a whole lot of pressure, because it'll take a lot more of the ride line off of it than I want. Real good ride line down the blade there. So we will clean the stone. Move it over to this stone. This puts a little bit finer edge on the blade. Well, enter is not wanting to stay in there. Just a little bit more. That's good. Alright, we have created a perfect ride line down both scissors. Now they're sharp now, but we're going to make them a little bit sharper. Now this polish is a confection polish that we put on the polishing wheel. We'll polish it up good. And then we'll remount these the same way. Center of the pivot. Mount it the same way. Make sure the blade is straight. And now we're going to make sure it's good and tight. We're going to turn the blade over. And now we're going to polish. Start from the tip and lightly go down. Just like that. And we're going to do this about 10-15 strokes. Looking the tip real good. Making sure we get it. And we're going to do the other blade, same way. Right over the pivot. Check, make sure we got it lined up good. Turn it over. You gotta always make sure you turn it over. If you ever not turn it over one time, you'll wish you had. They'll swing the scissors across it. Bam. Good. Start from the tip. Now we're going to reset the clamp about just a little below 45, probably about 46 with these being rainbow shears, because I don't want to take any of the paint off that I can help it, any of the coloring off. So we'll reset them back on the pivot, check, make sure they're straight, turn them over. Now what resetting this does is put that curve back into, you want to have that curve, because they're convex shears and they have to have that curve in it. Lightly go down it. We don't have to do this one that many times. This is just basically to make sure there's no burr on that side. Lightly. Just like that. Just want to lightly cut that across, just like that. Put a little shine back there, not much. That way you know they're done right. Make sure there's no polish on the blade. You gotta be careful because I've cut myself more times than I can count doing that. Right. Do this one the same way. Right. Perfect. Make sure there's no polish on the blade. Make sure you get all the polish off. That's what our blade looks like. What the back side looks like. The tips are not brought to a point. I don't like them sharp because they can stab somebody, so I don't make sure I don't grind them down. As you can see, like I told you, there's no metal been taken off these shears. You can see they have a perfect let's put them together and then we'll see how they cut. We have put the shears back together. You want them adjusted where you can hold one blade up just like this and drop this blade and it catch about like that. Not completely, you don't want them slapping. Make sure they're closing good and smooth, and they are. Alright, let's see how they cut. I like to check them both ways. I check them dry with tissue. And the best way to do it is lay the blade down and see how it goes right through that. That's the way it should cut right there. Just take the bottom blade and slide it under it and just let that blade basically fall. And that's how smooth it should cut. Now before they wouldn't even cut it at all. A dull pair of scissors will not cut a wet tissue. It will tear it all to pieces. And this tissue is, I take and separate a tissue, so we use just about the thinnest tissue we can get. If you want to check it wet, and you want to check a real thin tissue. Alright, this is how it should cut. Just like that. The tips, just like that. That's how sharp. And you can see that these shears have a perfect ride all the way down the blade. They are set right where they should be. They're closing smooth and they're cutting great. Now, normally it takes around 10 to 15 minutes at the most to do a pair of shears, depending on how much work I have to do. If they don't have any real bad nicks in them, and all I have to do is just basically sharpen them without having to polish the nicks, do a lot of polishing to get the nicks out, because I don't really grind the nicks out. I try to polish as much as I can. Then it takes around 10 minutes. I charge $20 a pair to sharpen a pair like this. I guarantee all my work, and I do all work on location out of my van. My name is Henry, and I own Henry's Mobile Sharpening, and I will be glad to take care of your shears. Just give me a call.